So I've been talking a lot about immigrants coming to this country and earning it and working the old-fashioned way, putting sweat equity into it. And I thought to myself, who can I actually talk to that's close by that has a great story to tell and how hard work really pays off? So when you think about your dad and what he had to overcome with nothing but lint in his pockets, there was no change, no money.
Yes.
Do you think somebody can still do that today in America?
That's a different breed.
Yeah.
Rob, it was a different breed, my dad, you know. He sacrificed. He sacrificed to put food on the table for us. We didn't drive Cadillacs, we didn't do it, but 2 and 3 jobs at a time, that's what he did.
Did everybody in the family have a job to do? Even the kids?
Well, yes. We were always hands-on. My mother worked, my dad always worked. We helped out. I remember working at the Aliquippa Fruit Market when we were trying to make ends meet and stuff, okay?
Right.
I started at downtown Aliquippa. Armin Pinella and Tom Jercetis owned it. So at 11 years old, I got a stock boy job there, okay? And I remember giving my mother and my father my pay. I'd take $10 out a week, giving to my mother and father to help pay the bills. You know what happened? When I got married,
they gave you the money back.
They calculated everything that I gave them to help out at the house, and they gave it all back to me.
How many years is it?
Huh?
How many years of payback did they give you?
Well, I worked there till I was 19. So
unbelievable.
Huh?
And there was never no. There was always a way.
Yeah.
We can figure it out.
Yes.
And I think the problem in America today is people are just too willing to throw in the towel and give up. And I know we have border issues and we talk about it all the time on the radio, but I really believe that if we could find a way, like Ellis Island was, when people from Ireland were coming and parts of Europe and obviously Italy, if we could find a way to let them come into the country legally, I think we could see a growth spurt in this country that we haven't seen since the turn of the 19th, going into the 20th century, because people were just happy to be here, willing to do anything. And if it wasn't for some of the immigrants in this country right now, especially in agriculture, that are coming through legally, a lot of these places wouldn't be able to stay in business.
Right, I agree.
I mean, look, how difficult is it now to get people to just wash dishes and wait on tables and work behind the bar or learn to be a cook and actually make it work in the kitchen? Taking nothing away from the work ethic or any generation,
right.
A lot of people have lost what it's all about to work for a living.
Right. I've never seen anything like this. It's ridiculous, you know, with the workforce we have today.
So, as I'm coming here today to have lunch with a couple of dear friends, Jim Ross and Michael Marmo, who's going to join me tonight right after CBS Radio News at 9. His father, an immigrant, we're going to talk about that story. I saw a Saloni's bread truck going across the bridge. I'm a big fan, Coons March to sell it. I'm all about product, all about people. My friend Joe Dentisi and I would talk all the time. His father was an immigrant, a fisherman from Sicily. He came here, 1 grocery store. They end up having 8 grocery stores. Now in the 3rd generation of that family, their kids. Your daughter, Allison, filming this video. It's about passing on that work ethic, something I've tried to do with my children, and thank goodness it's worked out. But we have to teach our children, you've got to go out and work for a living if you want to make your way in this country. The greatest generation, people like your parents and you, actually went out and paved the way for all of us. All we have to do is not drop the ball and go to work.
I agree.
So, what did your dad, besides the fruit market, what was his skill set? What could he do?
My dad...
They're getting closer so they can hear you.
My dad was a, like I said, he had multiple jobs. He worked 3 jobs at a time.
What did he do?
A grave digger on Olivet Cemetery.
Up in Hopewell.
In Hopewell.
Right.
He worked at the St. Titus Church. Okay, as
Cleaning
custodian, yeah. And then he worked as a craneman at different, not at J&L, Bollinger's, Shenango Steel. That's what he retired from. Don't forget this. My dad had to borrow money to come to America. He didn't have enough money.
Did he have to get sponsored to come to America?
Back then, yes, because his father was here, and his father's brother was here. He was the very first one. So somebody had to sponsor him.
To give you an idea how big Beaver County was at one time, St. Titus Church was the largest church in the Catholic diocese. They had 5 full-time priests. That's what jobs do. And I've been in really a conundrum lately on the radio because and you can talk about both of these things. The convention center in Monroeville is going to close.
Right.
The Doubletree Hilton is going to close their doors today, right next to the convention center. You've got Butler Works, which is a Cleveland Cliff steel plant, about 1,000 people, 1,500 all in all directly or non-directly connected to that facility, possibly closing. You've got the tin mill in Weirton, West Virginia, definitely going to close. Cleveland Cliff, 1,000 jobs. You can't keep taking away these jobs because you're not replacing them, so people are suffering. Explain what a convention center and a hotel does for business around it, like in Monroeville, especially with what you do. If you don't have people coming in, they're not eating dinner.
That's right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
So,
Hobby Lobby, right? I think they're going in, right?
Right. And that's wonderful, but it's not sending people to the local restaurant.
Right.
I mean, we're looking at 400,000 people that came into Monroeville, Mario, just for the convention center, that are no longer going to be coming in and no longer staying at that hotel. And I don't think people understand the food and beverage industry, how many jobs that creates. Do you realize the jobs that you've created with just your presence here? It's staggering. And all of the generations of people who've gone and grown up, and because of, like I did in the food and beverage industry, learn how to communicate with people, learn how to wait on people, learn how to work a cash register, learn how to do a little cooking, learn how to handle yourself, how to dress, be in public. It changed my life forever. And communicating as a waiter eventually got me communicating on the radio and in television. So there's a thought process to all of this, and we're just missing something right now.
That's a big blow for Monroeville.
A huge blow.
Yeah, it is.
And how? So my question is, how is it that you come here and take what was once Thursdays, a legendary landmark, and I haven't seen crowds like this since they opened their doors decades ago? It's got to be the food. It's got to be the service. It's how you treat people. But did you know going in that this place would be such a success? I mean, your lunch crowd here today was incredible. Yeah. What's the secret?
Well, listen, I've got young ideas. What are my kids?
Right.
Okay. So we had a nice following at the Mario's Bob site.
Right.
So we just transferred that here without all the flooding and all the complications that we had at the old building.
But you rolled the dice. Yeah. And to make money, you got to spend money. Yeah. And let's face it, you've spared no expense. This may be one of the best buildings structurally right now in Beaver County. And this is not a small diner. This is a thriving restaurant with massive entertainment. So you rolled the dice on this and you came up a winner, but it was a long time coming between here and how you started many years ago.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to where you started in this business. How did that start?
Well, I was always into the food industry. Okay? I worked at the airport. Okay. When I left right after 9/11, okay, they were looking for volunteers. I was a coordinator for the international flights. Okay, I went up on the airplanes and I checked the meals and this and that, and So I wanted to start a business. I wanted the wood-fired pizzeria. That's what my grandmother had in Italy. That's her only source.
She had a pizzeria in Italy.
She had an oven, a wood-fired oven outside her house. That was her stove.
And she made pizzas.
She made our meals, yeah. So, and that's what I wanted to bring here to Beaver County. There's no wood-fired pizzeria, so I started and I shopped around and I met a guy named Mark Peluso.
Yeah.
Okay? And he was turning sheets at the end of town into a shop, a three-shop business there. So he picked and chose who he wanted. I said, I gave him my concept, Cafe Kalachi, myself, and a charcuterie back then, or one of those places. I can't remember. But he liked the idea, and we got a relationship going. So here I am.
Well, let me tell you, my friend Steve Sheets, who's retired now, and we still every once in a while exchange text messages. They are coming back to Vanport, so everything that's old is new again. So I'm really excited about that. Oh, yeah. But Mark Peluso was ahead of his time. A New Brighton grad, by the way, and what he's done in real estate. How you two got together, and I remember, and that set you on the journey to where you're now one of the most successful restaurateurs that this region has ever seen. So you're passing it on to your children. Do you hand down those old world recipes too? So you want it to stay the same? Because people want that experience of a tablecloth, china. Oh yeah. They want to sit down. They want to be told as though they're the most important person in the room. because you don't know what their day has been like, and that's the most important thing, to make them, whatever they went through during that day, be left at the doorstep and let them have an experience that they'll take with them long into the evening and help them get through those tough times in life. So you always roll out the red carpet with people. So is that a part of your success? Because I've never seen you do anything other than full throttle.
But listen, Rob, I put the idea in their heads, okay? Both my son and my daughter, okay? And this is their passion. Okay, I didn't force them. They wanted to do it. They seen Dad do it, and they love the business.
What frustrates you about this business? Because you go out and dine other places, things that you see that you're like, that can never happen at our location. What is it that frustrates you? Now, the entertainment thing is something new for you, and so far, you've been doing very well with that. And you have one of my buddies who's kind of involved in helping you a little bit with some of the bigger promotions, and that's a great thing. Part of that great D'Souza Engler brand, Rich Engler, his lovely wife, Cindy. So those two are incredible. But what about the food and beverage business? Things you see happening now, Mario, that make you go, we can't ever let that happen, or we got to get away from it?
Well, you know what? In the restaurant business, what frustrates me the most is trying to get staffing. Listen, I'm here. I sometimes look for new employees,
right? And
sometimes they find me, okay, on whether it's Indeed or whatever. But what frustrates me is they waste their time. They put the effort to set up an interview, okay, schedule an interview, and then they don't show.
Or they don't call.
They don't call. No show. This is what frustrates the crap out
of
me.
The jeebers out of you. Now, I know, and here's the thing. You imagine how your parents would have reacted if you came in and they said, hey, how was the job interview? You go, I decided not to do it. Or did you let them know? I mean, do you imagine the hell you'd have to pay if you didn't tell your parents, I didn't go, but I called and let them know I wasn't coming? Everything that you committed to, you had to do it. And I'm going to just be perfectly blunt. I was a really challenged student in high school. It's a miracle that I graduated. My thought process was always wanting to be here with you, okay, or someone like you.
Yeah.
So I get through high school. I ended up going to work at a place called Ciro's Top of the Mall. Started as a busboy, coming home with all the different flavors and salad dressing all over, and my mother washing those clothes and having conversations with some leftover pasta about how I love the juice. I love the excitement of the restaurant industry. I love eating dinner at 2 o'clock in the morning. I loved it all. Joe Ciro let me become a waiter, so I'm 19 years old, making a couple $100 in tips a night. Then I become a maitre d', and I'm driving a new car, getting new clothes, the whole works. And my dad's like, look, this is great, but you should really try to get a job in what you went to school for. And I did. I went to broadcasting school for a year. I got a job in the industry that I love, but I couldn't afford the Lincoln anymore or buying clothes. But in the long run, it paid off.
Right.
But if it wasn't for those 2.5 years that I spent with Joe Ciro at the Beaver Valley Mall in this industry, there's no Rob Pratte. I don't understand how to handle myself, how to communicate, and more importantly, what hard work can do. And I don't care what anyone says. If you're a parent, you literally are wondering what your child's going to do as high school graduation is almost here, come here or go to the one in Beaver, wash dishes, wait on tables, work behind the bar when you become of age. Because the thing that we're missing in our country today is the ability to actually carry on a conversation with someone. And you know as well as I do, it's the most important thing you can do in your life, building relationships.
More important, Rob, you were disciplined.
Right.
You had discipline.
Right.
Okay. Your parents, you couldn't call out. You could not go to work.
No.
My parents, my mother made me go to work because I had an obligation. He says, you know what? You have a job. You go to work.
What would you like to see? We're going to wrap this up in a minute because Allison's arms are probably getting tired, but I want to get the most out of this guy when I get a chance to get him on camera. What do you see long term? What do you really want? I mean, you've accomplished it all. Listen, honestly, and I would tell you this, every time people ask for a recommendation, I'm like, Beaver or here? And what you have done here is second to none. I even doubted that you would be able to do what you've done, and it is absolutely skyrocketed what you've done here, and I think it's the best is yet to come. But when you look into the future, and obviously the summer months are coming, warmer weather, you've got the great stage, the great outdoor patio. You're not going to find this anywhere in Beaver County or anywhere in the region. What do you want to see next?
Listen, it's not going to continue. It has to get better. Okay.
You got to evolve.
It has to get better. Okay. No is not the answer. You just keep praying that it's going to get better, and it eventually will.
You realize with Rich England, the connections that he has, the talent that you could bring here, it'll be standing room only. But the great thing about it, there's no venue that you can get steak and seafood just as you would a five-star restaurant and watch your favorite band perform at the same time. And it's also a night if you want appetizers and a cold beer and just kick back and listen to music, you can get that too. But you understand with all of this will be your son and daughter's future.
Yes.
You can't give away what really is your claim to fame, and it's right there in Beaver. The whole family-style restaurant, date night, anniversary, whatever the celebration, let's just go let Mario do the cooking tonight. That's your signature. That is what your parents were about. That's what you're about. That's what your grandmother was doing back in Italy with that stove out in front of her house, that little oven. So even though you want to move into the future, you can't forget who you are and what you're past.
No, sir.
You love Beaver County?
I do.
And isn't it amazing? You do something that Joe Shearer used to always do, and he would tell me how important it is. If it was lunchtime, he would always kind of walk in, check the registers just to see what was going on, make sure all the supplies were where they needed to be, the help was okay. But you start going around table to table to table. As you came over to Mr. Rock and Mr. Marmo earlier, that is such an important and gratifying thing to see. Anybody who is signing the paychecks, who still takes time to come over and shake the hands and greet the people that are spending money in their establishment and showing how grateful they are.
That is very important.
Now, when you cook for you and your wife and family, what do you cook? What do you like to cook?
My passion is grill cooking outside.
Still?
Yeah.
Like steaks on a Weber grill?
I do.
You actually do that at home?
I did.
After doing this all week?
Yep.
Signature dishes here and at the restaurant, then we're going to say goodbye. What are some of your signatures here? People wanting to come here to 410 Grill or go to the restaurant, Beaver. Signature items.
The signature dishes here. The garlic chicken here.
Gotta have garlic.
The greens and beans in Beaver. And people tell me, customers tell me, why don't you have your beans and greens here? I says, if I have your beans and greens here, you wouldn't go there to have the beans and greens. So you can go there, beans and greens, you can have the garlic chicken here.
Listen, my Lebanese friends, and they know who they are, turned me on to greens and beans. It may be one of the greatest things ever discovered since Marco Polo brought pasta back from China to Italy. I love greens and beans.
Yeah.
So how do you make greens and beans? What are they? Don't just tell me it's a little olive oil. What is the actually greens and beans?
Greens and beans. Okay, there's different variations. Okay, some people make it like in a frothy type. You know, I don't normally do that. When my mother made the beans and greens, she had the spinach, she had the sausage, she had the cannellini beans, and a little bit of olive oil, mix it around.
I don't know if tortellini beans are any part of it, but I just like saying tortellini beans. So Sunday on the Coons Cooking Hour, we're going to have you maybe do a guest appearance sometime.
Okay.
We're doing recipes with vegetables. Okay. Give me some of your favorite recipes with vegetables, and then all of you can tune in Sunday and phone in with your recipes after local news at 8 on KDK. Vegetables, dinner. Give me some recipes.
My favorite vegetable is Swiss chard.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite veg. You blanch it. Okay. You cut it. You blanch it, and saute it in olive oil and garlic. A little bit of salt, and you got a meal.
You know, when you think of peppers and onions and beans and tomatoes and cabbage and all these things, if you have vegetables, you'll never go hungry.
Oh, absolutely.
Never go hungry. Listen, God bless you. Much love to your family. The future looks bright, but it always looks better when I see you. Because you make me understand what hard work can do for anyone. And you're always looking to hire people.
I am.
And listen, your children will never be in better hands than they will with this guy. Thank you. Anything exciting coming in the weeks and months that we should talk about here at 410?
Well, we're doing the St. Practice.
St.
Practice Day.
St. Practice or Patty's Day?
St. Practice.
What's that all about?
Well, it's right before St. Patrick's, so we have a celebration. It's all a benefit. I think we've sold 400 tickets so far.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's the benefit for you? You know, Allison, you can talk if you want. Go ahead, talk.
What's the benefit for?
Fort McIntosh Club.
Yeah, Fort McIntosh Club. What's the date on that?
March 9th.
The Fort McIntosh Club. Did Mr. Zambelli give you a key to that place?
I did not.
He keeps telling me he's going to let me get in there. Listen, God bless you. and keep up the great work. You mean a lot to me.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Rob.
All right, listen, we're back on the radio tonight talking more about these stories that matter to you. We're live, we're local. It's your Pratt Pack right after local news at 6. And don't forget, vegetables, the topic of conversation. We're slicing, we're dicing. And don't forget, we got that Coons Market right here in Hopewell. How do you find the one nearest you? Click on coonsmarket.com. 410 Grill, Restaurant, Bridgewater, Beaver, an experience you will never forget. Bolissimo. Have a great day, everybody.